All right, for 2B, we are doing more with standard form, but also vertex form. So you're going to have to go from one to the other today. So I'm just going to do a quick refresher on what these forms look like. Can you tell me what vertex form looks like? Is it not there? Okay, so vertex form. Y equals, what came first? A times x minus h squared plus k. All right? So that's what vertex form looks like. What did standard form look like?
Y equals ax plus
Ax squared plus bx plus c. Okay? So you have these two forms. I gave you 3 equations under there that you need to write in vertex form. Okay? Here's your 2 steps. Number 1, you need to find the vertex. Remember, your vertex is negative b over 2a for your x value, and then you plug that in to get your y value. Okay? Or the way we wrote it on Friday, you could also write it like this, f of b, negative b over 2a, right? That's the same thing as plug in. Okay? However you see that better. So you find the vertex, step 1. Step 2, you're going to write the vertex form. With the same a value. Okay, so whatever your a was in the original equation that they gave you in standard form, a doesn't change. It's the only thing that doesn't change between forms. Okay, everything else will look different, but a will stay the same. Okay, so I feel like these are not horrible as long as you know how to work with negative b over 2a. So let's just look at this first one. Are you done writing that down? Can I zoom in? Not quite. David, put it away. Your name is going to just be heard all over this thing this year. All right, here it is. Write the vertex form of y equals 2x squared minus 8x plus 3. Okay, so we know that a is what? 2. Okay, so a is going to be 2 in your new equation also. We know a is 2. That's this term right here. Okay? Then we need to find the vertex. So vertex is a negative b over 2a for your x value of your vertex. What is a negative b right now? A positive 8, right? Here's your b term. Negative 8 is b. A negative 8 is a positive 8 over 2 times what? 2. Times 2. Okay, so our x value is going to be 8 over 4, or 2. Okay, that is my x of my vertex. What do I do with that to find the vertex? Not the C. It's this, right? Plug in that x value to get your y value. So we're going to take this 2 and we're going to put it here and here, right? We're going to plug it in for x and that will get us our vertex. So we're going to say y equals 2 times 2 squared minus 8 times 2 plus 3. Okay, simplify that. Y equals, what does this become? Okay, 16 or 8? Because half of you are going to say 1 and half of you are going to say the other. You need to do PEMDAS, which means you square first. 2 squared is 4. 4 times 2 is 8. Minus 8 times 2, which is 16, plus 3. 8 minus 6 is a negative 8 plus 3. What's negative 8 plus 3? Negative 5, okay? So step 1, find the vertex. What is your vertex? 2, negative 5. Okay, so we found our vertex. Step 2 is put that into vertex form with the same A. So here's A, here's vertex. Those are the 2 things you need. I'm gonna highlight these ones in blue so you're not jumping around to all the different pieces. You need a vertex, you need an A. You plug it into vertex form. Remember, vertex form looks like this. So it's gonna be y equals what? 2, that's your A term, times x minus your 2 squared plus a negative 5, so you might as well just write it as minus 5. Okay, questions on that?
So it's 5 and K.
Negative 5 is k. Because the equation, right, if you look at this, it's plus k. So plus a negative 5 is the same as saying minus 5. Good on that? Okay, second one. What do you do first? Find the vertex, okay? So your vertex x equals negative b is 24, so negative 24 over 2 times what? Negative 3, your A. Okay, so simplify that. Negative 24 over negative 6 is 4. Okay, so your x value is 4. How do you find y? How do you find the vertex? You plug that in. So 4 is going to go here and here. So it's going to be y equals negative 3 times 4 squared plus 24 times 4 minus 10. Okay? What does this work out to? By the way, if you just plug this into your calculator all in one shot with the parentheses where you see them, your calculator should do it right for you. Let's just double check, just to make sure. Oh, hi, Mrs. Verhoeven. Thanks, Sam. So if you go negative 3 plus 24 times 4 minus 10, you should get 38, and that is what we got. So if you want to just plug that into your calculator, just make sure you plug it in how you see it, okay? So y works out to 38. That means your vertex is what point? 438, right? Your x and your y that you just found. So you have that vertex. What's your A value? Negative 3. So you're going to take that information and plug it into vertex form. So y equals what? Negative 3 times x minus 4 squared. Don't forget the squared. Plus 38. And that is your vertex form. ¿Está bien?
Not bien.
Un más. Not bien because you don't understand it, or not bien because you don't like it? Yeah.
No. No me gusta.
No me gusta. Me gusta mucho. So, sorry. All right. What's your A term?
1.
A is 1, right? There's no number there. It's a 1. So A is 1. Then we need to find our vertex. So negative b over 2a is going to get us our x. What's a negative b right now? B. Negative 8 over 2 times 1. So negative 8 divided by 2 is a negative 4. Okay, that's our x value. What do I do with that x value? plug it in. We're going to take that -4 and put it here and put it here. So it's going to be y equals -4 squared. Make sure you put parentheses around that. If you try and plug this whole thing in without those parentheses, it's going to tell you the wrong answer, okay? -4 squared plus 8 times -4 plus 1. Plug that in, you get 16 plus a -32 plus 1. That's -16 plus 1, so y comes out to -15. So now you have your x and your y and your a that you're going to plug into vertex form. So your vertex is -4, -15. It'll be y equals, I would put this 1 in just so you're clear that you know what your a was. Even though it's 1, right, it doesn't change anything, I would still put it in. It's not technically wrong if you don't, but I would. So it's x what? Plus 4. It's x minus a -4, so x plus 4 squared, then what? -15. Questions? Okay, so that's the end of you. Oh, sorry. I mean to draw a big line through that. You turning it into vertex form, okay? Application. What does this look like? So question number 2 here, it says a model for the performance of a stock is P equals -3D squared plus 50D, where D represents the days of trading and P is the price per share. The question is, what is the maximum price per share of the stock? Okay, now here's what you have to think about. Where do you find a maximum?
Maximum is when it's upside down.
When it's upside down, it would be the vertex, right? Your maximum would be the vertex when it's upside down. We know this one's upside down because it's got a -3 out in front. Okay? So basically what you're doing here is exactly what we just did in the last one. You're finding a vertex. This equation is as if we said y equals -3x squared plus 50x. Right? It's just d's and p's instead of x's and y's. If you need to rewrite it with x's and y's, rewrite it with x's and y's. We're trying to find a vertex. So you need to say x equals -b over 2a. What is a -b right now? No. -50, right? We don't have a c. 50 is b, -3 is a. Okay? So this is your a, this is your b, this is your c. So we're doing a -50 over 2 times a -3. So that's -50 over -6. If we simplify that without making a weird fraction or decimal, we would just call this 25 over 3. Okay, so that's our x. X equals 25 over 3. How do I find y? We want to know or p. The price per share is what we're looking for. How do I find p?
We gotta plug it in.
You plug it in. Okay, so we're going to plug in 25 over 3 into that equation. So p equals -3 times 25 over 3 squared plus 50 times 25 over 3. You can totally do that like one piece at a time. I don't know why you would when there's a 25 over 3 in there that does not make for a pretty number. So what I would do if I were you is I would plug it in. -3 parentheses 25 divided by 3 squared plus 50 parentheses 25 divided by 3, and you get this number. 208.3 repeating. Okay? Think about the question. What is the maximum price per share of the stock? What are these two numbers telling us? This was D, I guess.
Vertex.
It is the vertex. What does D represent?
That's the side of it.
D represents the days of trading. Okay, so if you plug in 25 divided by 3, that's 8.3 repeating, right? That's 8 1/3 days. What's the 208.3?
That's the price per share.
The price per share. So does 28.3 repeating make sense if we're talking price per share?
No, but 28.33 does.
208, right? So this is your D, 8 1/3. Your price per share is money, so $208.33 would be your best answer. Okay, so after 8 1/3 days of trading, the price per share would hit a maximum of $208.33. Does that make sense? Somewhat? Find the vertex, right? We just found the vertex. You just need to know what the vertex means. And we tell you in the problem, P is the price per share, D is the number of days of trading. Okay? Okay, last one. We got this. The new River Gorge Bridge in West Virginia is the world's largest steel single arch bridge. You can model the arch with this function. I'm not going to read all those big numbers, little numbers really. Where X and Y are in feet. How high above the river is the arch? So right now in our problem, this oh no, it's not labeled in there. I was thinking it was labeled. We're looking for this, okay? The height of the arch so that we can find out how high above the river it is. So what we're gonna do, again, is find a vertex because if you think about this point right here, right, that peak, that's a maximum. We're looking for the maximum of that arch. This is a parabola. Do you see the parabola?
Yes, I'm parallel.
Yeah? Okay, so we're looking for the maximum, but then whatever we get for this y, we have to add that 516 feet to it, okay? So we're gonna do x equals negative b over 2a. These are not pretty numbers, right? So a negative b is gonna be a negative 0.847 over 2 times a negative 0.000498. Okay. Again, I would plug that into your calculator. Make sure that you put parentheses around that 2 times the negative number. If you want to break it up separate, you can. But when you plug this into your calculator, you get x equals 850.4. Okay, when you plug that in. We want to know y. We want to know the height. So we need to plug that in right here and right here to find our y. So it's going to be y equals negative 0.000498 times 850.4 squared plus, not parentheses, go away, 0.847 times 850.4 again, okay? Again, plug it into your calculator. Those are really big numbers. Plug it into your calculator. You end up with y equals 360.145. Okay, the question was, how high above the river is the arch? So we're looking for how high is this point right here. So we need to take what we just found, the y, and add 516 to it. So 360.145 plus the 516 feet above that it starts the arch. You get 876.1, we'll say, we're around to the nearest 10th, feet high. Okay, so when they ask you how high above the river, It is 876.1 feet above the river. Again, you just found a vertex, right? You figured out what is your x, plug it in to find your y, and then you take that number and add it to what we had. Questions on that?